Welcome to the Tammy Davis YouTube live channel. And for those who do not know me, I've been out in these streets for quite some time. And when I say these streets, these social media streets, if you don't know who I am, if you're just popping into my channel, I am Tammy L. Davis. I am the CEO of Next Level Consulting Services, and I was a former administrative assistant turned business analyst for Oracle Corporation. And I've had my own tech consulting firm since 2006. April, oh my gosh, this month is 20 years. That is nuts. Needless to say, I have been in this space since 1998. So when I made the transition as an administrative assistant, I was working on a very large technology project for the city of Detroit. They were implementing Oracle, and I was an admin. And then somebody saw something in me. Y'all go to my YouTube channel to see my full story. I don't want to take a lot of time, but last year I made the decision to be obedient and start to follow what I was told in sharing not only my origin story on how I did not come from a technical background. I did not major in computer science, information systems. I was a communication major. I thought I was going to law school. I did law school for 1 year and I was like, that's not my ministry. Over the years of me being in this space for over 20 years, I have, on the down low, mentored many people to transition into this space. And last year, I had the calling to be obedient and start to share my story. That morphed into what you see today. So whether you're on my TikTok channel, whether you're on my YouTube channel, whether you follow me on IG, or whether you're in my pivot community, I formalized it. And this is where we are. So today, I'm going to be talking about how you are already a consultant. You just don't know it yet. And if you see me glancing down, I'm looking at my notes. I sometimes I do free form wherever the spirit leads me to talk. But one thing I know for sure, that if you have managed processes, people, projects in any industry, I don't care if you come from HR, I don't care if you come from customer service, operations, finance, accounting. You have been doing consulting work your entire career. And the only thing missing really is the title and the check. So I want you to stay with me for the next 35 minutes or so, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So most of you, watching right now, you want to come into the space of technology consulting, and you have been discounting yourself. You have been telling yourself that I don't have a chance to come into this space. You might have looked at a job description for a business analyst. You may have done a search for a project manager. You may be looking at an organizational change management specialist role. And when you see jargon that we use like ERP implementation or Workday technology project or even cloud transformation, you might have immediately thought, let me close this job description. I'm tripping because that's not even me. I don't have the background. I don't have the certifications. I don't have the chops that I need in order to come into this space. And I'm here to not only tell you that you have been doing yourself a disservice, but you are 1000% wrong, and I'm going to prove it. The first thing that I want to jump in is breaking down what technology consulting really is, because I think a lot of times people believe that it requires a technical background, but what technology consulting is and what clients really need today, because the hiring space has changed. Gone is the days where you needed to have that coding skills or those coding skills, or you needed to be a developer. Technology consulting requires for you to have the ability to be the bridge to, you are the bridge Your experience, your background, the industry that you're coming from is the bridge between the technology and the people. I truly believe that the most valuable person on any sort of technology consulting project, so whether the client is implementing Workday, whether the client is implementing Oracle, whether they're trying to roll out Copilot, whether they're trying to upgrade their HR financial operation systems, the most valuable person on the project is not the developer. I said what I said. The most valuable person on the project is the person who understands the business process. The most valuable person on the project is the one who knows how to manage the stakeholders. The most valuable person on the project is the one who makes sure that the technology is adopted. Now, I know that I might even have some people right now who are working on projects, and you might even be a doggone developer. You might have the wings on your back because somebody has told you that the technology is number one. And don't get me wrong, it is. But that's where clients and that's where these large system integrators are missing the mark. They're spending way too much time configuring and focused on the technology, not knowing that the most valuable person on the engagement is rarely technical. And that person is you. So again, I want to go back to my full origin story, just a little bit, just to give you a preview, because when I was on that large project for the city of Detroit, I was 26 years old. I was working as an administrative assistant in the business and the process improvement group under Kelly Tinsley for IBM. I will never forget this at all. It's a core memory because that project changed my life. I had just moved to the area. I didn't want to be an administrative assistant anymore. That had been my background. So all throughout college, I worked in retail. I worked as an admin. I worked for law firms because, again, I told you, I thought I was going to be an attorney. So when I moved to Detroit, I was like, I need to get a job. Okay, I'm going to work for this temp agency, and money was dwindling. So I did not want to be an admin. I wanted to go into a different space. I wasn't ready for law school. I had undergrad student loans. I didn't want to take on the burden. So I got hooked up with the temp agency. And I'll never forget the phone call that I had gotten from Wayne Wheeler, Data Consulting Group. It's so funny how certain things are like etched in your brain. And like I said, go to my other YouTube videos. I give you the full 24-minute story. But needless to say, I was an admin working for these other 10 consultants, and we were all women. And the consultants that I was serving, all women, they had come from different backgrounds. And a lot of them, this was their first technology consulting project. It was dope. A couple of those women, I'm still in contact today. One of those women served as my mentor when I started my own company, Next Level Consulting Services, in 2006. Google it. nextlevelconsultingllc.com. You'll see who we, have worked with in the past, who our clients have been and currently are. And the thing is that I was working my little tail off. I was doing notes. I was getting them lunch. I was coordinating travel schedules. I was doing memos, like all the things admin work admins actually do. Little did I know that everything that I brought to the table as an administrative assistant was an asset. My people skills, my attention to detail, my research skills. One of the nicknames that I have is Super Sleuth. I can find anything. You are not going to out-research me. I actually served as a research assistant for the National Defense University in Washington, D.C. The point is that because I specifically knew how to hone in on those skills, I really worked to a degree that got me noticed. In all honesty, because I was working at such a level of excellence, someone from Oracle noticed me, and that person gave me a job description. So they had been looking at me for like the past 3 months. They had given me a job description and was like, do you even know what a senior consultant slash business analyst at Oracle does? Yes, it was a large Oracle project. It was Oracle and IBM priming it. I didn't know what it was, but what I did realize was that salary, $75,000 a year. When I was an admin, I was only making $35,000 a year. So you can only imagine that, of course, I jumped on that opportunity, but I can't even tell you that I wasn't nervous, that I was not hesitant, but I just locked in to all those skills that I listed. And then that person, my mentor, my angel, was the one to really support me and take my resume and say, you know what, all the things that you've been doing as an admin, whether it's here on this project, whether it's for the law firms, I know you recently graduated from college, we're going to reframe those skills for you to be a consultant. Resume was updated, guided me through the interview process. And I would say, I don't know, 2 or 3 months after that, I was an Oracle employee. $75,000 a year, a $40,000 jump, stock options, 401k, all that great stuff. But the thing is that I really had to, and I thrived in that role. So I don't want to go into, what happened after I left Oracle, because that is where all hell broke loose. But needless to say, to go through what technology consulting actually is, I also want you to understand that a lot of times when I say this, people are like, well, what exactly are you talking about? Are you talking about AI? No, I'm not talking about AI. I'm talking about roles that you probably are not even familiar with. And there's a difference between information technology and technology consulting. One thing that I like to say is that IT is what keeps the lights on. So managing hardware, the servers, your help desk, that's IT. But technology consulting is what transforms a business using the technology. IT is all about maintenance, making sure that the computers, the laptops, the networks, the servers are working. But the other one is all about making sure that the technology is going to enhance and really transform how the business is operating, as opposed to working on those technical components. And the roles that I talk about, everybody knows what a project manager is for the most part. Everybody pretty much knows what a business analyst is. But there are roles in this space that you may have never heard of. And these roles are 6-figure roles. So your business analyst roles, check, you got that. Your project management roles, yes, you absolutely have that. But did you know that there's an organizational change management specialist that work on these technology consulting projects? Did you know that there was a trainer? Did you know that there was a communication lead? Did you know that there was an implementation specialist? Those who really do you know that there's a role that tends to come in from a sustainment standpoint, especially now? And for each one of those roles, I know for sure that it's going to be a light bulb moment. So when I talk about how your skills are transferable in this space, in the beginning, I had said that clients are looking for individuals who are coming on to these projects that have fundamental industry knowledge. So for example, you might be watching me right now and you might be saying that, hey, you know what, Tammy? I'm coming from a customer service background. What is it about me working as a customer service person, a customer service rep? How do my skills translate into one of those roles that you talked about? Because you are serving as a customer service specialist, you already have strong listening skills. Your number one focus is to not only listen to the problem that customer is calling you about, but you are trying to diagnose the issue, number one. So your listening skills have to be on point. Number two, you need to know how to ask specific questions as a customer service representative to make sure that the person, you understand what their problem is. So you're listening, very closely. You're asking them questions to get to the heart of the issue. Once you think you have a gist of what that issue is, you want to make sure you're probably going to put that person on hold. Mr. Such and Such, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate your issue. You're calming them. So there, by the time you're reaching customer service, and you know how it is, we have gone through so many. Hit one if you want to speak to a live person. Hit two if you want to. By the time we get to a live person, we're already on 100. So by the time you are picking up the phone, you're diffusing the situation. So all those skills that you're collaborating, by the time you get to the point of understanding their issue, you want to assure them that you need to put them on hold in order to get to another department. So you're collaborating with other departments in order to solve their issues. So listening skills, asking the right questions. You're working with other different individuals within the department, because the number one goal that you have as a customer service representative is to make sure that the client, number one, stays, or that the customer stays a customer. But then you also want to make sure that they are satisfied. And I'm sure you have key performance metrics that you need to meet. I'm sure that there's, benchmarks that you need to meet on the call. So you being from a customer service background, you would be excellent as a business analyst. You coming from a customer service background, you would be excellent as an organizational change management specialist. So the thing is that I don't want you to discount yourself, because the thing is this: before this episode is over, I want you to do one thing for me. I want you to write down the 3 most challenging projects. I got projects on my brain. I want you to write down the 3 most complex problems that you have solved in your current role or your most recent role. And I'm not talking about your job title. I'm talking about the problems that you have solved, because when you're able to list the problems that you have solved, what the problem was, what impact that you had in addressing the problem, what was the resolution, and how did you make it better for the next person or that process overall? That is the beginning of your consulting identity. And that is what I'm going to start building on doing these episodes. So if you have any questions, if you're here with me, put it in the chat. The chat is quiet. And that's fine, because I'm still going to keep on going. I mean, one of the things that I have also seen is that it's challenging for people to see themselves in a role that they don't even know about. So maybe the next episode, I'm going to break down what that is. But one of the things that I have already, this live is only for a hot minute. I'm only going to be on here for another like 20 minutes. What you want to do, and I don't know if I can put it in the chat here, if you are interested in exploring what is it that I bring to the table, I know that I've been discounting myself as an unqualified candidate to come into this space of consulting. You get to join my free community, the Pivot Lobby. So how I started the Pivot Lobby was as a result of a viral video. I had gone live on TikTok, and I was so excited because I was personally asked to be a part of oral presentations for an upcoming project for a higher education client. So in other words, an old client of mine, one of the largest system integrators in the country, I had done work for them personally before, and they had asked me, am I available to serve as the organizational change management lead for this particular oral engagement? So what happens is that the higher education client, they put out an RFP, they want to implement, Oracle software, and they, want companies to respond to their RFP. Who's going to be the best company that's going to support us to implement this, configure this, train this, supported us through the change of this? And they asked me to be on the oral presentation. And when I had seen what this system integrator is doing, not only with the technology, but also with the AI, within the technology, it kind of blew me away. So there was 25 of us just on the system, anywhere between 20 to 25 of us leads that we were presenting ourselves to the client. When I went on TikTok to share with people just at a high level what I had seen and how now is the perfect time to come into this space, the video blew up. And I was like, okay, I have a free download for you to get. It's called the Career Pivot Download. And it's a workbook. It's like 6 pages, and it walks you through what is your why? What is it about this consulting industry that you want to get into? Is it career growth? Is it more money? Is it how your current skills are transferable to any one of these, 9 technology consulting roles that I talk about? And I was like sending links to people. It was a mess. It was like overload. So a friend of mine said, you need to start a community. I had already had my premium community, the Pivot Circle. So the Pivot Circle is a 6 to 12 month program in which you are being mentored by me, and you actually are transformed. So you go from, identifying where you are. It's a whole complete program. I'll put the link in the chat. But needless to say, I started the Pivot Lobby. So that if you are interested in coming into this space and you want to explore, like I've been in this space for so long, and I've seen so many projects, and I want the landscape to change. I want people to realize that clients, companies are hiring people with institutional industry knowledge. So if you have a finance background, if you have an HR background, if you have a supply chain background, if you have an operations background, we need your institutional knowledge. It does not matter that you don't know about the technology. You will learn Oracle. You will learn Workday. You will learn Microsoft. You will learn Copilot. You will learn Microsoft Dynamics, whatever technology you want to focus on. But what people cannot teach is your ability to understand regulations, workflows, compliance issues from HR, from finance, from accounting. That's the part that clients don't want to pay for, and they should not have to pay for. So when I said that I was selected to be the organizational change management lead for this large higher education project, the reason why the system integrator reached out to me is because not only do I have organizational change management experience, but I have that institutional knowledge. Nobody, well, let me not say nobody. My approach to organizational change management is very methodical. I'm not talking about my frameworks and my methodology. Yes, I'm a certified change management practitioner through APMG International. I got that in 2014. But the thing is that, okay, that's a nice to have. That certification that I have is a nice to have. My experience is over 20 years of having implementation experience, of dealing with higher education clients, in dealing with federal agencies, the institutional knowledge, and also my background. So remember, I went from being an administrative assistant in technology consulting to being a business analyst in Oracle. Then from being a business analyst in Oracle, I then became a trainer, was a tester. Then I became a trainer. Then I became an organizational change management specialist. So the magnitude and the breadth of my experience is the same experience that you have. Sometimes I feel as though that I'm on this mountain shouting this by myself and to myself because, people are out here selling and telling you that you need to get a certification first, whether you want to become a Scrum Master, whether you want to become a project manager, whether you want to become a business analyst. I truly believe that certifications serve a purpose and a place, but every person that I have mentored to not only come into this space, but to get in a position that maximizes their highest potential and their growth, they didn't get their certification until years later. They led with their experience. I came into this tech consulting space in 1998. I did not get any certification of any type until 2014. How many years is that? That's 16 years. Someone else who I supported, she was our administrative assistant. So at the time I had Next Level, of course, still do. Also, my husband had his DPM Construction, a construction company. We were just we had two little kids. It was a lot. We had this administrative assistant. And she now has her own training company. So not only did I support her in making the transition from being our admin to becoming a trainer, she now has her professional development / training company. And she did not get any sort of certification until it had to have been 10 years. She graduated with an economics degree from Howard University. So I'm here to tell you that certifications play a part in our space, but they are not what you lead with. What you lead with are your skills. What you lead with is your institutional knowledge in whatever industry that you're coming from. That's what you lead with. So that is my that is how I feel about that. Certifications serve in a place, but they should not be your lead. So what I was getting to with regard to the Pivot Lobby is a free community where you have the ability to explore this career. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link, or can I share my screen? I wonder if I can share my screen. I can share my screen. So I am going to share the Pivot Lobby. So let's see how I'm just figuring out here. Perfect. So bear with me. So now what you are seeing right now is the actual Pivot Lobby. This is the link. So take hold of the link. I'm also going to put it in the chat as well. So this is where you can join the Pivot Lobby. And it is, again, a free community where you get to be a part of the discussion that we have every single week on how you can discover what technology really is. So if you are a beginner and you are saying to yourself, okay, well, where do I fit? I'm just going to go back to sharing. Where do I fit? Where do I start? The Pivot Lobby is 1000% for you. So I just started this community. It was March. So was it last month or maybe the end of February? We're already at 103 members, which is exciting. We hit 100, members, which I wanted to celebrate. And as a result of the celebration, I'm offering free 30-minute one-on-one pivot clarity calls, but you have to be a member of the Pivot Circle. So that is where you are able to have a conversation with me directly. And you answer like 3 questions. I'm going to tell you about a tool that you have access to, and you are going to start to see specifically how you can come into this industry, like real tangible. It's not foolishness. Like, it's not like a pipe dream. I'm literally walking you through and giving you examples based on your skills and your background, how you can show up in one of the 9 roles that I talk about. Okay. So first, when you come into the Pivot Lobby, you do need to be approved to join, but needless to say, go ahead, click that link. You come to the community tab. On the community tab, this is where I'm sharing, good Lord, all types of things. I do polls, I do weekly prompts. Individuals have the option to ask me questions because we have Q&A sessions. So you have the community tab, that's like the community thread. You're going to have the classroom tab. So the classroom tab, you have different modules that you have access to. So typically the Pivot Clarity calls their $27. Again, because we got to over 100, we got to 100 members, I'm offering it for free. So you don't have to pay the $27 for the month of April. So you have your module 1. This is where you're going to start here. You're going to see why I created the Pivot Lobby. You're going to what it is, how it works, community expectations. Here in module 2, this is where I do the role breakdown. So I'm gonna tell y'all something. I had a Q&A session called last night, and I was telling the members, I was like, I don't think people understand what's available to them. Like this information, I wish, this is where I was about to say, when I left Oracle, all hell broke loose because I did not know what to do next. Under the umbrella of Oracle, it was beautiful. I had the mentorship, I had the guidance, I had access to courses. I could figure out where I wanted to go as far as a role. Like, okay, I knew I love being a business analyst, but I wanted to do much more. Once I left Oracle, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I floundered. I didn't know, like, yes, I was able to take my skills as an admin and translate it into being a business analyst. But once I left Oracle, I wish I had this roadmap. Of all the people that I've mentored over the years, I wish I had this blueprint. It's my whole ecosystem is called the Pivot Pathway. So the fact that I'm offering this information free, it's unheard of. So I drop role breakdown. So what is technology consulting? I have a video on that. I tell you what is a business analyst. I have what is a trainer. I'm just about to release what is an organizational change management specialist. So when I talk about these roles, you now can start to see how you might fit in one of them. Then we have the calendar. I'm still in this free community, the Pivot Lobby. Like I said, we have sessions at 7 p.m. Get home from work, put it on your calendar, get your dinner, put them kids, put on a show, get them ready for bed, whatever you got to do. But for 1 hour, you get to answer, you get to be a part of when I answer your questions live. Then, of course, we have members, leaderboards, and this is just the about page. So the Pivot Lobby is incredible. Again, it's technology consulting for beginners. This is where you begin. If by chance you are ready to go to the next step, then that is where so you're in the Pivot Lobby, you're saying to yourself, okay, you know what, Tammy, I'm in the Pivot Lobby. I now want to, take it to the next level. I understand, you are really giving us quite a bit of value in the free community. The next step is for you to actually join the Pivot Circle. So another thing I want to show you also is just going back to the Pivot Lobby really quick is on the classroom tab, you also have the ability to purchase the Pivot Planner. So the Pivot Planner is actually something that I created. This is something that you can get on, it's only 19 bucks, y'all. It's like, for real, 19 bucks. You can get it on Amazon. People have gotten it, read the reviews, and it literally is a workbook and a roadmap planner. So this literally walks you through, this is your roadmap. You're ready. You're in the lobby. You're saying to yourself, okay, I'm ready to go to the next step. Tammy has, given me so much value. Now I want to be mentored by her. Okay. Now I want to go a little bit deeper. This is actually your six to 7 month roadmap on how you can come into this space. So not only do I give you the roadmap, but I'm literally giving you a step-by-step. So it has like all the different areas. This is like the welcome, it's defining your why. This is where you're going to start reframing your skills. You're doing a skills audit. This is where I talk about all the different roles. So those 9 roles that I talk about, you have an introduction to those roles. I even give you a monthly goal tracker and a weekly roadmap. It's one thing to set your goals every month, but now what are you going to do every week to accomplish your goals? So that's why I say it's a workbook and also a planner, because I'm really giving you the step by step that you need. So you're in the lobby, right? That's a free community from the jump. You get your pivot planner, 19 bucks on Amazon. Okay, easy. You spend 19 bucks probably getting a couple of coffees a week. Save that and invest in yourself. Now you're saying, okay, I have this planner. I'm in the pivot lobby. I'm ready to become this particular role, whatever you choose. I'm ready to become a business analyst. I'm ready to get my consulting identity on. The next step is for you to actually join the pivot circle. So I'm just going to pull up that link really quick and have you go there. So hold on one second. Let's see. Of course, the caps like, it's like 10, it's like people are watching you. You're like, okay, what is it about when everybody's like watching you? You're like, okay, well, how come I can't type anything? Or how come I know. I'm trying to find the link to the pivot circle, which is crazy. So the pivot circle, and I'm just going to share my screen really quick and also put it in the chat as well. So the pivot circle, and this price that you see, it's only for existing. So if you join the pivot circle prior to February 2026, you would pay that. But the pivot circle, like I said, it's a part of the pivot pathway. It's a 6-month program for experienced professionals. You have a consulting identity, role specific competencies. You start to develop a real case study of work that you've already been doing, along with your updated LinkedIn profile, your resume. There's exclusive AI tools that you can use, and then you will start to apply. So your role, your new identity, you now have, you're now putting in applications. So once you join the lobby, there's more information that you get about the pivot circle. But the biggest thing is that even in the pivot lobby, what's key, and I'm going to go back to that. And again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, because I'm going to be coming off of here in a minute. One of the things that I also created, so this is what I was doing manually. I offered pivot clarity calls last year. And what would happen is that you would schedule a call, you would answer 3 questions. Your questions was about your role, your background. What is it that, what role are you interested in? You don't know. And I literally would take those questions that you answered, and I would manually do the research and personally identify, I know it's a gift and a talent that I have. I would personally identify what would be best for you, which one of those roles I talk about in consulting you could make the transition into. I was doing this manually. What I have created is called the Pivot Pathway Skills Translator. So what this is, it literally is the first interactive transformation platform that shows you exactly how to make the leap. So here, this is the app. You only get access to this translator if you are a Pivot Lobby member. So if you try to go on here now and I see that you try to use it, I'll shut it down. But when you come into the Pivot Lobby, and I'll share this, when you come into the Pivot Lobby, you will see the second pinned comment about how I created this skills translator tool. So if you are sitting back and you're saying to myself, well, I have my resume, I have my LinkedIn profile, this is what my role is, this is my background, I need to see specifically how I show up in this space. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on a certification yet. You don't have to waste your time following people who are telling you things that I don't want to say that are not applicable to you. You now have the ability to try this translator tool and see exactly what role comes up for you. When I first created the skills translator tool, after it was done, I actually got emotional because I know how much this tool is going to support people. I know, like I said, start with it. You upload your experience, and in less than 2 minutes, the tool shows you how it maps into specific tech consulting roles. So the thing is this, you only get access to this tool at this particular point if you are a member of the Pivot Lobby. So your first step, I know I talked about the pivot circle. I know I talked about the skills translator. I know I talked about the pivot planner. It's all a part of the pivot pathway ecosystem. But for you, you don't know me from a can of paint. You can get to know me by coming into the Pivot Lobby. So, like I said, every week, I think I'm going to come on here. It's been quite fascinating to say the least. I think I'm going to come on here and I'm just going to, share. Needless to say, your first step is joining the Pivot Lobby. Click the link that's in the chat. Come on into this space. You're not alone. There's other professionals in here that are just like you. You are just like me, where I was, and I am trying my best to make this transition as seamless. I'm not going to say the transition is going to be easy because you're going to have moments of fear. You're going to have moments of doubt. You're going to have moments of imposter syndrome, all the things that I have seen over the years mentoring individuals, all the things that I see now uh, within the pivot circle, that my premium membership that I'm mentoring, all the things that I see even right now in the Pivot Lobby. But the thing is that you don't have to guess anymore. We're here for you. There's other individuals that are in this space and wondering the same thing, but they decided to take action. So needless to say, this has been incredible. If I was rambling, which I do. That's why I said I tried my best to get to go through my notes. But again, I built this whole pivot pathway ecosystem for you. You're watching, you're wondering. Like I said, now is the perfect time to come into this technology consulting space. We need you. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell. Look at my other videos where I tend to stay really focused. But I designed this pathway for you. It's time for you to take advantage of it, and you will see exactly how you show up. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next live.